Hi, my name is Rutanya Mitchner, and I'm the Director of Operations and Programs for Truth Be Told, a nonprofit here in Austin that provides transformational programming for women in prison. And what does my advocacy look like? I am a justice involved woman of color who knows firsthand what it's like not to have anyone speak up for me, to advocate for housing once I was released, to advocate for programming that required me or helped me to be a better mother. Programming that prepared me for involvement with my employment, my education, all of those things. I come from my experience comes from personal experiences, the lack of advocacy on my behalf. So what that looks like for Truth Be Told and the people that are involved with Truth Be Told is this: you have people that are offering assistance and connections to resources in the community, Austin's community, in the our or surrounding areas in Texas. So having someone to that understands where you've come from, what you're up against once you're released, to be able to give you a role play with you, what you should say on your behalf is monumental. The importance of my representation as a Black woman in this space, it, I look like the people I serve. I have the lived experience. I understand. I speak the language. I know what the obstacles and struggles are. So it is imperative. It is statistically proven that people serving people that have the same experience, lived experience, they're successful. People are relatable. You are not just someone that are showing up, you show up in spaces thinking that you understand what's going on with an individual when you really don't. You have no clue. It is the impact is life changing. My personal experience when I was in prison back in 2000, the founders of this organization of Truth Be Told met me where I was, offering me an alternative to the lifestyle of crime that I had, I was experiencing. They opened their lives, they opened their doors, they lived out loud, and I was able to cherry pick out of their life what I wanted to incorporate in mine. And because of that, we are able to provide the same type of programming, curriculum, modeling, safe space for the women in prison. The, a lot of these women don't really understand that they have an opportunity to change. Most of these women get out and they get out into the same situations. They go back to the same situations that they left. We're thinking that this is all I have to, this is my life. This is it. Not having the courage or the strength to be able to walk away from that and start all over again. Starting over again, how many times I've done it in my life is so scary. It's very, very traumatizing. It is it is horrific when you don't have the resources that you need to do that. Truth Be Told gives these women the courage to ask for help, to seek out help. In those classrooms, they're modeling safe community, what that looks like, safe people, what that looks like, to be able to create a community of people and resources that will require them to allow them to be successful once they're released. I am not I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for those safe spaces in prison. And when I got out, watching the lives of these women and how they incorporate self-care and community building and creativity. Again, my name is Rutanya, and I am the Director of Operations and Programming for Truth Be Told. And it is because of organizations like Truth Be Told that I am able to live a crime-free life, that I'm able to share my experiences with my children and hopefully soon grandchildren. And I am so grateful to God for this opportunity to share our organization with you. And I'm looking forward to maybe seeing some of you guys there. Thank you.
I'm Terra Tucker. I'm the Texas State Director for Alliance for Safety and Justice, and we are a multi state nonprofit that aims to win safety priorities in the states that we work with that break cycles of crime, and bring services to communities that are underrepresented. So, um, embracing equity. A big part of what we do is organize survivors of crime, from communities that are most impacted. And what you'll see is that there's not really equity in services and resources, in those communities. Where the equity is starting to increase is in representation of, women and minority women in prison, where previously it had been, men. The numbers of women going to prison is increasing. And another thing that we know about, people who go to prison is that a lot of the underlying issues that lead to incarceration are unaddressed trauma. And so my organization works mainly at the state level, but also at the local level to try and, um, reduce that pipeline into prison and to bring resources that can address traumas and keep people out of prison and break cycles of crime and repeat victimization. So this year in particular, we have some bills at the legislative level that do those things. So we have a relocation bill, that's been filed in both the Senate and the House, that would allow for survivors of any type of violent crime to apply for relocation benefits, and be able to move from unsafe situations. In addition to that, we have, a budget ask for funding for trauma recovery centers, which are projects that we have been working at the local level, but we're also looking for funding. And what they do is provide, trauma-informed services and therapy, mental health services to survivors of violent crime at no cost to them. So we're looking for state support, for those centers to build up those systems so that we can bring healing to communities that are most impacted by crime and violence, but don't have any help. Also, another area that I think, can be really beneficial to women, um, is our clean slate, second chance, time done, legislation, that helps people who have been system impacted, clear their records, seal their records so that they can re-enter, rehabilitate by, having access to employment, education, and housing. Uh, Women coming out of prison often have families, and they're going to need to house those families, and being able to clear their records, can be greatly beneficial to them. And it's needed. Once we've done our time, we should be able to rebuild, and be able to provide safety and stability for ourselves and our families. Um, what else are we working on? We're supportive always of, um, programming for women in prisons and in communities. Anything that's going to create equity, because for so long, the focus has been on men, that we've left a lot of people behind. And I think that Texas in particular has been raising this issue and doing some work to fix that. What's the importance of, my representation in this space? I think it's twofold. There aren't a lot of, men. I mean, there aren't a lot of women and a lot of women of color in leadership roles in organizations like mine. I think it's getting better, but there's not a lot. And it is very empowering to be able to go into our member meetings where we organize survivors and people with past convictions, and show them what they can do, show them, that their voices do matter, and help create a space for them, to kind of follow in my footsteps. I don't do this job alone. I do it by organizing and being in community with people and empowering people, and empowering especially people that look like me. A lot of our membership are Black women. And so being able to give them a voice when they haven't had one before, um, is really special. And I can see myself in a lot of them, and I hope they can see me and themselves, and feel empowered to do the work and confident to do the work, because it's because of them that we do it, and it's because of them that we win. So that is what brought me here today. That is why I do the work, and I am grateful to be able to share my experience and my mission with you all. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Angel Carroll, and I have the honor of serving as the Director of Community Engagement and Partnership at Measure. It's a great day to celebrate International Women's Day and bring attention to the issues that women still face in the world today, like education inequity, gender-based violence, and the loss of the autonomy of our bodies. While Black women have always served on the front line in the fight for equality, unfortunately, our contributions have oftentimes been overlooked in both the civil rights and women's movements. Our power, resilience, and courage should not be overstated. As Black women, we have a distinct standpoint from which to understand the intersection of race and gender and a unique experience of oppression. Through the lives of powerful Black women like Dr. Anna Julia Cooper, Barbara Jordan, Velma Hopkins, Angela Davis, and many more, we gain a better understanding of what it takes to meet the promise of justice and equity. At Measure, an all Black woman-led organization, we're proud to continue the fight started by the powerful Black women that came before us, and we strive to be living embodiments of their wildest dreams. It's been said that to rescue the world, you must protect Black women. But before they become powerful Black women, they are Black girls. Black girls are disproportionately affected by sexual assault, sex trafficking, arrests, and convictions, youth incarceration, school disciplinary actions, hair discrimination, and much more. Through our Innocence Initiative, guided by community voice and lived experience, we dream of an anti-racist future where Black girls can flourish. We do this by aggressively dismantling the mindsets, behaviors, and structures that perpetrate the Jezebel stereotype that assigns unfair sexual judgments upon Black girls. I invite you to dream alongside me by visiting wemeasure.org to join our movement in protecting Black girls. Happy International Women's Day, and go forth and be great.
The Black family, unfortunately, was dismantled with the war on drugs, and we are still reeling from the havoc that wreaks on our communities. And with women being the fastest growing population categorically, the Black single mom has the highest rate of incarceration. Yep. So we have to keep having these conversations. We have to keep uplifting what's happening to our Black community. We have to start talking about what's happening to our families, because it affects the youth, it affects the women, it affects your community. Women are the backbone of communities, and we are the people that will take our neighbor and take the person down the street, and we will help our colleagues. And I'm not saying men don't, but we do it first nature, because that is what we do. It's programmed in us. And so it's very important for us to keep having these conversations. And when we see things that are going to affect Black, brown families, play defense against it this session and really start concentrating and looking at what our family policing system does to Black and brown families. If you look at the data of who's in the child welfare system and you look at the data of who's in the prison systems, they mimic each other. Right. And we have to look at what is happening here, what is intentionally happening to Black and brown families. You could almost say that it's intentional or mimicking what they did in slavery when they sold the Black family and split them up in different plantations because they did not want them to grow together because they could be too strong. And then you might revolt, and then you might have a real problem on your hands. So we have to stick together in community, Black, brown, marginalized, all of us that can see the history of what America has done and really start to value our families again, really put value in our belief sets, in our communities, and say we will stand together in solidarity for what is right. We will no longer be complicit with our silence. That's for the prison industrial complex. That's for family policing. That's for what happens in the schools. We need education equity, healthcare equity. We need women, Black women, to not have the highest maternal death rate when they're giving birth. These are things that we have to keep having conversations about in all of our circles. It doesn't just always have to be Black, brown community, because they're not the ones necessarily that needs to be educated on it, right? Have the hard conversations with people that don't know the facts, right? That don't know the history, and so that we can all get on one unified page and we can all stand in solidarity together. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for having me, Lionel.